Today on the Nerdy Gritty, Steam's hands-off policy when it comes to game censorship is being tested by a new game called Rape Day. Should they do something about it?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I'm Dez.
And I'm Fox, and I have a philosophical question for
Dang
you.
it, I was going to jump. You cut me off.
Philosophical question.
Go.
Do you think God abandoned us because he's afraid of what we've become?
But what if God was one of us?
Like a stranger on a bus? No. Have you seen the picture of Sonic from the movie?
Oh, gosh.
That terrifying monster, but also adorable creature, but also uncomfortable?
He is not adorable.
No, he's not adorable at all.
He looks hideous.
He doesn't look like Sonic.
He
I
has
don't understand.
muscular legs.
He looks
and
like
his
Sonic's
hands,
weird cousin.
His gloves aren't gloves. His hands just become white.
Yeah, I don't understand why they need to, like...
He looks like a creature that dipped his hands in bleach so he could rub them in his eyes so he wouldn't have to see himself in the mirror anymore.
I don't get it. Just make him look like Sonic.
I don't understand. This, like, I didn't know Jim Carrey is going to be Eggman in this. He's going to be Dr. Robotnik.
I love it.
I
hope it's live action.
This is going to be
wearing a big suit.
The worst movie.
I'm so excited. It's going to be following the tradition of terrible video game adaptations.
I don't understand.
There've been like 2 that haven't been terrible.
I don't understand how they think this is a good idea.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to watch the freaking garbage that is going to be put on that screen and laugh at it all day long.
It's the character design for Sonic. I'm sure somebody is proud of what they have done. But
they shouldn't.
I don't want
They need to go sit in the corner.
I actually had 2 that I was going to jump through, but no. So
I think we've passed the intro. Now you're just talking about
something. Right, I'm just talking about things. I read an article today about the creator of Smash Brothers.
Yeah, his name is Sakurai.
Sakurai. Toshiro Sakurai.
Yep.
That there was a time when he was developing Ultimate that he got the flu and he ordered an IV and kept working.
Yep. That's him. That's just what he does.
This guy needs to. Somebody needs to.
He has been hospitalized based upon the stress that got put on his body during one of the maybe Brawl. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, that guy just puts his whole life into the game.
Somebody needs to hit this guy with a tranquilizer. Just be like, all right, it's 5 p.m. Time to go home. I can't go. Sleep, young
rest.
Sakurai.
And then he slept. Even after it wore off, he slept for 4 days straight.
Yeah. My other thing that I wanted to talk about today was the Critical Role Kickstarter.
Oh, man.
So as you guys are listening to this, 1 week ago, Critical Role posted a Kickstarter. Now, I actually follow Critical Role. I haven't seen all of the episodes, whatever, but I know the stories, I know the characters and whatnot, and I know the actors. So when I saw that Critical Role was putting up Kickstarter, I'm like, oh, I want to check this out.
Wait, okay, they announced it a week ago, right? Because I thought it actually went live today.
It went live yesterday as we're recording this. As the people are listening to this.
We're talking to you in the future, from the past.
Yes.
Right, okay, yeah, so a week ago. Good
We're
call.
recording this on the Tuesday before you hear it.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Anyway, so they wanted to make a 22-minute video called the Legend of Vox Machina. Yeah, Vox Machina is their first campaign title, like their crew, the name of their crew. And so they had this 22-minute thing ready, and they decided, you know what? We want to make this as high quality as humanly possible. For this 22-minute video, we want $750,000. This is literally just a 22-minute cartoon. It's all it's going to be. It's going to star us. It's going to have some things in there. It's just going to be a real short story. But we want to make this as high quality as possible.
Professional looking animation.
Absolutely professional. Yeah. And for absolute professional stuff, it's going to be $750,000.
Right.
And it's a lot of money to ask for a 22 minute. Yeah, absolutely.
For if that was like a series they were creating, Okay, I
Right.
can see that being. But no, this is one episode.
So yeah, it's 24 hours later, and they have over $4 million.
They made their goal in like 45 minutes.
It's insanity, just how quickly. So it's been funny because again, I follow these people on Twitter. I check out their live streams sometimes and things like that, and they look exhausted with surprise. They have literally hit a point. So
emotional roller coaster.
Exactly, it's a whole huge emotional roller coaster for them where they're at a point right now where they just don't know what to do anymore. I kid you not, Matt Mercer this morning shared a tweet that said, hey guys, Critical Role is amazing and it's really, really cool, but like they're really funded right now. So here are some indie developers
here are some
on
other
Kickstarters.
Things. Give them your money.
If you want to support Critical Role, go support these guys in the name of Critical Role. Matt Mercer shared that as in saying, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
We don't know what to do with $4.3 million right now. Well, Fox, what have you been up to, man? What's been going on with you?
So I discovered that a thing that exists this week, something you call total conversion mods.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I told you a little bit about this, but essentially, there's a game called Enderall: Forgotten Stories, and I found it on Steam. It's a free game, and all the features. It's like huge open world, 30 to 100 hours of gameplay. Craft all these like systems you would find in big, huge open world games.
Right.
Which is common, but it's not common for that to be free, and it's definitely not common for something like that to have like mostly positive reviews on Steam, like to be very well understood. And I looked into it more. It's a total conversion of Skyrim. It's a company or person or a group, I don't know exactly who, but took the assets of Skyrim plus fan-made mods and stuff, and created an entirely new game. It is unrelated to Elder Scrolls. It is its own thing.
Right.
But if you've played Skyrim and you play through it.
They've essentially used Skyrim as the engine.
Essentially, well, yes,
yeah.
And all the like visual assets. So you're like, yep, that's a person from Skyrim. So I started playing that as well as I've been playing Stardew Valley.
Yeah,
which is
day at a time. You said right.
One day at a time, which just means each episode will be about 17 to 20 minutes long. Just a single day the game and it's been really fun because it's a super relaxing game.
I downloaded the Tetris Effect.
You did.
Every time Fox has shown up at my house
twice in the last 2 days, I've come over to record and you are playing Tetris when I get there. Yesterday, I sat there and waited for 10 minutes.
It was not 10 minutes.
It was 10 minutes.
It might have been 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was probably 10 minutes.
But this game is just so beautiful and so fun and so good. The way that this game, so if you guys know what the Tetris Effect is, it came out a couple years ago, I think. But
you did talk about this a little bit last week.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the sound and the music in it and how it matches it all together, and then the visual challenge of it as well. But I'm eating this game.
Yeah, when watching you for a few minutes, it was cool that not just like when you place a block, but when you like move them or go left to left or spin them, it kind of adds sounds to the soundtrack.
Right.
Like the soundtrack is based on what you do a little bit, which it doesn't always work where it's like creating a cool sound, but
the vast majority of the
every
time,
couple seconds you're just like, that was a cool little melody you created.
It is, very, very cool.
So I will say this seems like one of the first games where I'd be like, yeah, this is damaging to the player because you yourself said, I haven't blinked in 20 minutes.
It was so, oh my God.
You're going to need, if you don't, you already wear contacts.
Yeah, I wear contacts.
But if you're a child and you have this and you don't, if you play it a lot, you're probably going to need some glasses.
I was just watching this game like, I don't want to blink. I'm so focused.
Right.
By the end of each level, I'm like, oh, my eyes.
You have things just falling, like everything you look at is just falling down vertically. Yeah.
Obviously, I'm still playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I talked to you a little bit about this before. I didn't talk about it on the podcast, though. But one thing that I've been noticing a lot in the Kingdom Hearts are the voice actors. Because now that we're getting into the more modern times of Disney, we're getting into the times where they're using a lot more big-name voice actors.
Right.
So Tangled was
Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi.
Cool. But it was not Mandy Moore in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh.
It was Zachary Levi, though.
Cool.
And which when that first hit me, I'm like, they couldn't get Mandy Moore, but they could get Zachary Levi.
He's doing stuff right now.
Yeah. What is she
What
doing?
has she been up to?
Maybe she just doesn't want to.
Maybe she doesn't want to be part of it. Any Mandy Moore.
Anyway, so the one that shocked me, but I think it's because Frozen 2 is coming out, so they really pushed for it. But they got every original voice from Frozen. So
Josh Gad,
Kristen Bell, Josh Gad, and Idina Menzel, or as John Travolta would say, timely jokes. But
look it up. He didn't know how to pronounce a fairly
Menzel.
simple name.
Well, I mean, it's a unique name. But if you read it,
it is read phonetically.
If you just read it.
Yes.
Yeah. Idina Menzel. Okay, that's how you say it.
I got it.
No, he said like Aduda Defuda.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It was
he added letters, took away other letters, read it in a different language.
So anyway, then we finally get to
Monsters
Inc. And I mean, also in Toy Story Land, it was not Tom Hanks or
I can understand that.
Yeah,
not getting Tom Hanks or
Tim Allen.
Yeah,
but
they're pretty big guys.
Well, same thing with Billy Crystal and John Goodman. So you get to Monsters Inc. But to me, the Monsters Inc. characters, like their voices, I don't know why, but their voices to me are so much what make the Monsters Inc. movies
especially good. Mike Wazowski,
especially Billy Crystal.
He is a Billy Crystal character.
Yes. Yeah. Billy Crystal has such a unique voice, such a great voice. Like he's not like Nat King Cole where you want to listen to him talk, but just the way that he talks
his
is
comedic
just funny.
Timing and style is tied to how his voice sounds.
It's great. It really is. It's fantastic. And so it's not Billy Crystal.
It's not Billy Crystal.
It's just like so clearly not Billy Crystal, which the guy's trying and he's doing a good enough job.
His name is William Diamond.
Billy Crystal. Got it. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, as we get into like the middling range of years where it's like 10 years back or whatever, we get less voice actors and it's a little bit disappointing. The last thing I want to talk about, one more thing, is last night for the first time ever, my wife and I watched The Man Who Knew Too Little with
one of the few
Bill
old
Murray.
Steve. Oh, is it Bill Murray? I thought it was Steve Martin.
No, Bill Murray.
Okay.
Bill Murray's 97.
What have I seen
surprisingly recent, actually. And it was really funny.
It's basically the plot is he's in a spy movie, basically, but doesn't realize it.
So, like in London,
not in a movie.
In London, in the time, they're like the premise of the movie is that there is you can be a part of like a live action play. You just like essentially these play actors have this situation. It's all actors and they bring you through like D&D almost where you just act in the thing they present for you. And so Bill Murray goes to visit his brother in England, but his brother's got to get rid of him for a night. He's like, tonight I have this really big meeting. You showed up by surprise.
Right.
So I'll buy this for you. Yeah. And so he goes and he accidentally gets caught up in an actual
spy thriller.
Yeah. And
thinks it's all fake.
It's really funny, man. Again, just Bill Murray is funny. The way that he delivers timing and the way that he just he's so normal too. The way that he just acts like a normal person in all of these extreme circumstances is fantastic. It was really funny. So
I have just one last thing, and it's a warning to our listeners. So this 2 days from now, the Portland International Film Festival starts.
Oh no.
And my wife, for my birthday, got me a pass to it. And so prepare for next week to be the next 2 weeks to be extremely pretentious.
Extremely
pretentious. We'll be talking about movies that you've never seen in foreign languages,
and that you wouldn't have heard of.
And I'm looking forward to seeing these movies.
Right.
But yeah, just prepare for that. So I'm gonna talk about it.
They're just gonna inflate your pretentiousness.
Oh yeah. I'm very excited.
All right. These movies. Are you ready to get down to the nerdy gritty?
Wait, hold on. Yes.
All right.
But first, we want to talk to you just for a quick minute here about our Patreon. We have a Patreon now. We've had it for a few weeks now. And we want to let you know that if you are not a patron of ours, not a tier 2 or above patron, then you are missing out on a good chunk of the conversation you've already heard from us.
15 to 20 minutes in that
Yeah,
area,
last week it was a solid 19 minutes.
Yeah.
That if you become a tier 2 patron or above, you will get the director's cut version on our Patreon, where you get to hear our full conversation. Now, as a warning, or as a caution, or as a just to let you know, we do not cut anything out of our actual topic for the week.
Right.
Unless there's like a tangent that we go off on that doesn't really have anything to do with anything. But that whole conversation will be there, because that's like the real meat and bones of what
Absolutely.
we like talking about.
We don't want to deny you our podcast.
Right.
Like, that's not what this is.
We will deny you rambling.
Yeah.
We'll do it a lot. Yeah, so if you'd like to hear more of our conversation here on the Nerdy Gritty.
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more about how you can do your part? If you'd like to hear more, if you'd like to hear the director's cut version, go to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/dezandfox. And our tier 2 is $5. Our tier 3 is $10. And we honestly just appreciate any kind of support, even just listening, sharing, just commenting on wherever you listen to it. But if you're looking for a way to get a little more involved, a little more invested in what we do here, we would love to have you go to our Patreon. We'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, before we get into the Nerdy Gritty here, we do need to address something really quick. We recorded this the day this article that we saw came out, the very next day. So we recorded this on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, the very next day, Steam actually addressed this issue.
Yes. So we are next week going to specifically address how they addressed it. We'll talk about it a little bit in next week's episode. But we wanted to get this out there because I think we still made some really good points. Our discussion is certainly still relevant because it's not just about this. It's about how Steam should address these kind of things in the future. So it still applies.
Yeah, so we just want to let you guys know Steam has addressed this. You can go look that up online. In fact, if you want to know, because we'll probably talk about it in our intro.
I'll put the article links like that we're talking about in the description of this video, and in any description I can find, wherever our podcast is right, wherever you find our podcast.
And then next week we will address this a little bit in our intro and just how they responded to it and how we're both disappointed in them. But but our points are still valid, so why don't you go ahead and move in now. I do want to give a little bit of a trigger warning here. We are going to be talking about a game called Rape Day. And if that just right off the bat doesn't tell you kind of what we're going to be talking about, then let me let you know. It obviously has to do with some really sensitive topics.
Yes.
And we will probably be talking about rape culture. We'll probably talking about the situation that these can cause, all sorts of things like this, the depictions that this game may portray and whatnot. And so if that's something that's going to be sensitive for you, just know that that is what we're talking about today. But also, it's an important topic. Right. It's something that should be discussed. So we're going to get into this. Recently, a game has been slated to be coming out. It's not out yet, but slated to be coming out on Steam called Rape Day. And this game is supposed to be a post-apocalyptic
it's like a survival?
Yeah, survival style game. But there are choices that you can make. And one of the choices says that, quote, it will let players verbally harass, kill, and rape women as you choose to progress the story. Now, this to me is, if that's a feature in your game, that's anyway. Okay, let's not get into that yet.
Yeah. So what we want to actually talk about today, because we've kind of broached this topic before of like an offensive game on Steam.
Right. I think it was like our second episode or third episode ever.
Yeah, we talked about we talked a little bit about
the
school shooting simulator game that was a thing. We talked a little bit about a game called Hatred at some point.
A couple times, yeah.
So we don't want to just say all the same things again.
Right.
What we're kind of going to do today is Steam has detailed their policy on games like this and just how they approach quote-unquote censorship of games on their platform. So we want to talk about do they need to do something different? Do they need to increase what they do? Are they doing a good job? Is there something special that needs to be done about a game with such a hot button, like, sensitive issue in it, like rape? So we're gonna come at it from that angle. But I'll start off by saying I think it is in very poor taste to have this in a game.
I think that's an understatement, but yes.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be like, no, every game should have that.
This is
that's a stand. No, I'm
life,
really
right?
looking
This is
forward
what it
to
should
Elder
be
Scrolls
like.
6, Rape in Elsewhere. No, I obviously it's a very it's just a bad idea. And also the creator of the game has said, look, I know this is like, I'm not like out here thinking, oh no, just accept what I have to say or what my game is. It's just like every other game. No, he's not like that, or that person is not like that. So I appreciate that. But I, for one, will say that I think this game should be allowed to be placed on Steam.
Man. And so here's what I'll say. I think, and if I can, spoiler alert, I think that you and I, as people who obviously very often land in the middle of issues,
yes,
we'll probably both agree on that. That
sure.
This game should end up on Steam.
Well, yes. There's no... So, okay, maybe we should get into a bit of Steam's policies here.
Right.
About how they've approached this stuff. Basically, what they've said, and this has been their policy for round about a year, I think.
Right.
I think the school shooting simulator game
really helped
had a big impetus for what they were.
Yeah.
So what they've said, they wanted to basically let people know what was going to be okay to put on their platform, as long as if I remember, you might have some details on there, but as long as it does not, the game itself is not doing anything illegal.
Correct.
So, I mean, in theory, if you had an FMV game where you actually had video of real people and it depicted rape, like an actual rape situation or underage, sexuality, things like that.
Which
then
even digital underage sexuality or underage punishment is illegal.
Yeah, right. So if that's in your game, you cannot put it on our platform. It is doing something illegal. We will not be a party to that.
Right.
Other than that, there might be something else. Other than that, they have simply said, we have our parental guidance, parental controls.
Right. I was not able to study this game's Steam page,
right,
because I am set to not see any adults only games.
Yes.
It's an AO game. I'm set to not see any adults only games on Steam, and I'm not about to change that either.
Oh, sure, yeah. It just came up with saying,
game.
oops, sorry, and it basically treated it as if it couldn't find what you were looking for.
Right.
Which is, I thought, pretty great.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, it didn't just say, oh, you're not old enough to look at this. It wasn't like, I really appreciated the fact that it wasn't just saying like, nope, can't look at it. It just pretended as if it wasn't there.
Right.
So do you think that policy of, as long as it's not doing anything illegal, and we probably should look through that a little bit
you
more.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll let you
do you
that
think
while I talk
that
about my
is
thoughts here.
Sufficient for a platform like Steam?
Here's been like my struggle with myself, honestly, with myself for a long time. Several episodes ago, months ago, we actually had a really cool guest on, my old college roommate, real good friend of mine named Dan Thompson. And Dan was in a situation where he has a YouTube page called Guns and Guitars, in which he does custom guitars and basses, and he also does gun like testing and previews and customizations and things like that for guns. And it's literally Guns and Guitars. It's a pretty good name. It's pretty direct and straightforward there. But one day, as YouTube was changing their policies, but hadn't communicated this yet, he was given a community strike and had a video removed from YouTube because it was an AR model. And this was something that when I heard about it, I was frustrated with, and we had Dan on, we talked to him about YouTube's policies and things like that, where if YouTube wants to be a place that's going to tout artistic creation, it can't just randomly pull things because of its political views. And that was my opinion on it, where it needs to make a choice between being a political entity and being an artistic creation organization. And if it's going to choose political entity, that's fine. It can choose that, and it has. It's kind of leaned toward that now these days, where it's much more strict on gun things. It's much more strict on a lot of things. If I'm going to hold that opinion, I can't come over to Steam now and say, if you were going to tout yourself as an artistic creation place, but you should also ban this thing that I disagree with.
Yeah.
Like I can't by rights hold both opinions at the same time. I want to.
Sure.
And this game is rancid and awful, and it's ridiculous that it's even being created. But if I'm going to be a person that says that if you're going to tout yourself as an artistic creation organization, you should allow people to artistically create in their own ways, even when I disagree with it and I hate it and it sucks. Yeah, you know what? Sure. Keep the game on. And that's Steam. They allow any indie creator to sell the game on their site. So
right. So I looked through. It's actually a post from Steam.
Go ahead.
It came out June 6th, 2018.
This is just last year.
Yeah, so less than a year ago. And I mean, it's fairly long. But here we go. With that principle in mind, this is kind of halfway through. We've decided that the right approach is to allow everything onto the Steam store, except for things that we decide are illegal or straight up trolling.
Right.
Now, people are still like, what exactly does straight up trolling mean? My guess, my assumption is that that's specifically targeting a real person, or
if this were Rape Simulator 2000 and it's just exclusively the premise of the game is you break into women's homes and rape them.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, the school shooting simulator.
Like that's straight up trolling.
It's essentially straight up, I guess. I mean, you could say there's like an educational aspect to it, or it could be used. But yeah, that sure. But the fact is, like, we're still not sure exactly what they mean by that.
Right.
They've also mainly
I'm certain they keep it vague for a reason.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and there's lots of things. I'll read one other thing, one pretty interesting line here, or a little paragraph actually, a couple sentences. So what does this mean? It means that the Steam store is going to contain something that you hate and don't think should exist.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you don't have any opinions, that's guaranteed to happen. But you're also going to see something on the store that you believe should be there, and some other people will hate it and want it to not exist.
And that's a really great way to state that.
Yes. I love this article, not article, just letter essentially is what it seems like that they wrote to people on Steam. It seems to pretty well hit all of the different ideas. Like, hey, look,
right,
we understand you're not going to like some of these things, but we do not want to get into the game of being content police.
Right.
They are not here to say, yeah, that we don't like it, so you can't see it. Now, if they were to say that, I'd be okay with it. This is a private entity, just like YouTube. To me, like, that's up to you. We'll find somewhere else to play your game. That, like, sure, people would hate it. I'd be like, well, okay, it's a hard road to hoe, but that's how they've come at it. And I actually really appreciate their policy there, is you're not going to like some of the things.
Right.
Essentially, deal with it.
Yeah, and, I would almost be disappointed in Steam if they did change that and say, you know what, we're actually going to start policing our content,
right, and
we're going to choose what is and is not okay.
Yeah.
Because, again, just like they said, there are going to be some things on there that you're really glad are on here.
Right.
But, like, for example, we played a game called Jesus Christ RPG. We're both pastors, we're both Christians.
Yes.
The game is great. It's a lot of fun. It's really simple. It's made through RPG Maker.
It's also a little funny.
Yeah, a little funny, but also
tongue-in-cheek.
Like, other than things that are obviously not biblically accurate, like Mecha Satan. It
tells the
represents
gospel.
The gospel really, really well. And you know what? I guarantee you there are people out there that hate that and want that to be taken down. And I bet you they could get enough people to complain to Steam enough that Steam would strongly consider, okay, we're not going to do religious things.
If that was the policy, yes.
If that was their policy. And so, again, if I'm going to be so glad that a game like Jesus Christ RPG can be represented on this artistic platform, I'm going to hate that something else can also be represented on an artistic platform.
Right. You have to accept that you're going to hate it.
Yes. I just have to accept it.
You have to say, well, Rape Day sounds really terrible and awful and like a pile of garbage, but if it's not doing anything illegal, then what can I say about like it's depicting illegal? And I think that's one argument for some people is that it's depicting illegal things, but almost every game depicts illegal things. I mean, just murder.
Any game that is set in that is supposed to be set in a realistic, because like obviously if you're in Skyrim, we talked about Skyrim earlier, it's not depicting anything illegal because
you can break the law in the game though.
I guess that's true. You can break the game's laws,
right.
But there are like games in which you are set in the real world that has real world laws.
Yeah, that's the distinction
and you can
we have
still
to make.
Break the law.
It's not what is depicted in the game is illegal. It's what the game is like. It's not the game. Well, I mean, I guess the depiction in the game is also important sometimes, but is it the game breaking actual like
real world laws?
United States or case by case basis, other countries. They also mentioned that it's like some other countries' versions of Steam will have games that your version doesn't, as well as vice versa.
Well, I mean, for example, there was a game recently that came out that had a reference on the wall. It's a horror game, an indie horror game, but on the wall there was a reference that compared the Chinese Prime Minister to Winnie the Pooh, and that is actually illegal in China. That's something that's a really big deal in China, and Steam pulled it.
Well, sure, yeah.
Well, actually, I think the creators decided to pull it. Decided to pull it all together, but Steam did do the hey guys, this is an issue right now. Like it was addressed to them as a legal issue, and I think the creators decided to pull the game all together.
But also, hey guys, Xi Jinping looks like Winnie the Pooh.
He doesn't
look it up
at all. But the fact that people say that he does and that he hates it is hilarious.
Yeah. Look it up though. There are comparisons. He has a similar face sometimes.
Ish, yeah. Anyway,
he also wears like just a red shirt and no pants. It's really weird.
Here is what I do think should happen, because this game is not just a bad thing or a dumb thing. It's not hatred, which is just a dumb bad thing. This is addressing a much more like personally damaging thing to some people,
I suppose,
and universally, and also hot topic
gun
damaging.
Rampage, mass shooting.
Right? Yeah, but
that was the game though. This is an aspect of a game.
Right.
I would say that's the big difference. Yes. This is an option in a game, not the game itself.
It's in fact, it even says this is one of the evil options on there. Like,
it doesn't depict it as do that because it's good. Like
like if you're going to be a bad person in this game, this is one of the things you can do as a bad person in the game.
Yes.
I do think Steam should address it.
In what way?
I think that they should say, we have heard our community and we hear their concerns about Rape Day. We want to direct them to our policy, which is right here.
Yeah.
We here at Valve do not approve of rape in any way, shape, or form.
Right. They do mention that these things aren't going to necessarily reflect the values of
It's
Valve.
all the stuff that they're going to say here anyway. But this is something I feel should be directly addressed, more than anything, because of the fan community's response to it.
Yes.
If the fans are all going to stand up and be like, this is bad, we hate this, this is bad, we hate this, this is bad, we hate this, and Steam just sits there silent,
sure,
I think that's worse than stepping up and saying, guys, we're not going to do anything about it, but here's why.
Right. So Steam does, they have a parental controls like menu in the settings. And in fact, if a game is basically rated a certain rating or has like certain tags even, which can be fan made, like this has a lot of nudity or whatever, then there will be a like this game, like before you actually go to the store page, it'll come up with a screen that says this game has these tags, put in your age. Now it's one of those things where it's an age gate, so you can just put whatever age you want.
Right.
Which
I'm 150 years old.
It's just better be safe. I was born in 1842. No. So it's a thing. They have it. I think it's a hard part because Steam can't like coerce, like they have no control over whether or not parents decide to do something. That's a huge concern with this game and with other games like Hatred and whatnot, is that Steam is a very open source of gaming.
Right.
Like you don't have to have a credit card to be able to get Steam. In fact, you can make money on Steam by selling Steam related products. Like in theory, if you gave it a long enough time and you played free games that gave you the little like the little trading cards, or you sold like items from free games like Dota 2 or Team Fortress 2, you could make money in the game. You could have a Steam wallet. You do not need a credit card to buy games.
Right.
And so technically, if there's no parent involvement, you wouldn't even need a credit card to buy a game on the Steam store. And I think that's an issue for a lot of people, because kids can get to this kind of stuff without if parents aren't involved. And so I think Steam, even they have a lot of parental controls, a lot of options. You can set it so that you won't see anything above a certain rating or that has a certain tag. Maybe they should. I don't know how they would do this. To me,
honestly, I think it would be as simple as you can't buy AO games with Steam money.
See, that's a good one too. Maybe that's already a thing. I've never tried to do that, so
we wouldn't know.
I've used my credit card for all those.
Right, absolutely.
All those sweet anime games. Oh man. I just don't like. Steam could, YouTube videos. Hey parents, here's a thing, or I don't know, advertise. Like that
would be another good thing, is just to have a video that pops up that says, hey, we've heard some recent concerns about games. You don't have to mention name of games, because the more you mention a name,
no, be very, very general. About
say we've heard some recent concerns about the content of some games that are up on our site. Here's a tutorial on how to set up parental controls.
Here is our policy, and here's how to change what your children can see.
Right.
Because Steam can't force people to do things, they're basically playing defense at all times.
Right.
So be as defensive as possible. Set up every kind of guard and block and advertisement on their parental controls as much as you can. Encourage people, like put it on your Steam gift cards that your grandparents buy for you for Christmas.
Right.
Like, hey parents, go to this website to watch videos on, like, every little possible way that you can. Beef up your parental controls and your public knowledge of those parental controls.
And that's just, that's wise for any open source thing, but particularly for games like this popping up on Steam. It's just...
Right.
Another thing that I want to kind of address is, we've talked a lot about how Steam should handle this, but I think that you and I at least agree that Steam, they have their policy, and they should stick to it. And it sucks and we hate it, but they should stick to it. But there is a response that we as gamers can have to this.
Yeah.
We have that power.
Well, sure.
We have this ability, and it always comes down to your wallet.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, we say it at least every third week that we talk about something like this. Like, just don't buy the game.
Yeah.
Don't play the game. Don't
play the game.
Don't share. Well, I mean, share an article about it if it's, just ignore it.
Or you know what? Negatively say, like, hey, games that depict these things. Again, whenever you say the name of a game, whenever you say that almost adds to
there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you say games that depict these things are horrific and should not be a part, so please do not support these things.
To me, I think this is a fair use of review bombing.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly.
Because it's talking about something in the game and not about outside of the game.
Right. And to me, the fact that it's called Rape Day, just right off the bat,
it's looking for attention.
Yes. It's like they're trying to say in some of the articles and interviews, they're trying to say, this isn't what our game is about. Our game is about surviving a post-apocalyptic era. Then why is it called Rape Day?
Our game Rape Day isn't about rape. Come on, guys. Wait a minute. Yeah, then call it Survival Day.
Yes, call it post-apocalypse survival. Call it anything you want, not that.
No, yes, it's a clickbait title.
It is.
So don't give in.
And
don't play it. It's probably not going to be that great, guys. Like, I can't comment on its material or its quality, but when it seems like a disingenuous premise to come from. This is how you get your name out there. Then what's the point? Like, are you intending on making an artistic, like a piece of art that speaks to people, or something that gets people to play it because it's supposed to be controversial?
Right. And you know what? This game is going to be one that it's mostly going to be perverts.
And we're gonna
perverts are gonna play it.
And we always have to. We're gonna forget about this. Like,
oh my gosh!
It's not gonna take the world by storm. We're not
No.
gonna be saying, "Oh, we were wrong." Like, no.
Now all games. Did you see what happened to Sora? Like it's. I mean, it's not funny, but it's also like the funny part of it is this isn't gonna happen.
No, it's
like
not.
These aren't real things that are going to happen. So we don't have to worry about that.
Right. That's why we're talking about how Steam should handle things. Not like this game is Satan and it's going to destroy the world, because it's not.
No,
we're going to make it through, guys. We're going to be okay.
This game will be a blip in the beautiful, wonderful landscape that is video gaming.
Yes.
And it's going to be this garbage blip that pops up and that people are going to forget about real quickly. And so as gamers, I think that, again, instead of saying, hey, look at Rape Day and how terrible this is and awful and whatever else, why don't you pick a game that's just beautiful in every way?
Right.
A game that really encourages inclusion and kindness and consent and things like that.
I promise you there is a game with everything similar. The genre, the price point, like the artistic style. Steam has thousands and thousands and thousands of games on it.
Right.
You don't have to just say, well, this is the only one that kind of does what I want it to do. I promise you there are more survival sandbox games. That's the new Doom clone, guys. That's the new Minecraft ripoff.
Yes.
I mean, it is the Minecraft ripoff, kind of, but like, it's just like there's a million of them on Steam. They're all early access forever. Like, you're gonna find one that's just as good and probably better, and also doesn't depict rape as a choice by the player.
So as gamers, I think allowing this to fade into nothingness is a wise idea.
Oh, sure, yeah.
As Steam, I think, and we agree on this, I think that they just stick to their, not to their guns, because when I say sticking to their guns, that shows a line of defense where they have to fight people off.
No,
I say they stand up loud and proud and say, this is what we have said. We are honoring what we have said. We're not going to be liars.
Yes, here's our policy. We're sticking to it. We're not changing it, because here's the thing. This is, whether they know it or not, this kind of thing is why people like Steam.
Right.
It's why people don't like Epic's, platform, or Origin, or EA Access, or what is it, EA Origins, or
I don't know.
They all have their own now. There's even
if you just come down to Apple versus Android.
No, there's even Uplay. All of those are very curated platforms.
Right.
They all have a very specific selection of games that you can play. Some of them are literally only Ubisoft. Only Ubisoft games on there, as well as they're on Steam. But that's a big reason why people don't like them. I don't want to have to download another platform just to play this game. I already have Steam. So if you're going to if you're going to be like pro Steam because of that, then you have to allow these games to exist.
Absolutely.
Because the other option is Steam becoming a highly curated, like maybe more, because they're not making many games, or any games really. Come on, guys.
Where you at, Valve?
You don't have to be afraid of the number 3, everybody, guys. Come on, Gabe. But it still would lead to less to play. And that's not what you want on Steam. It's not what we love about Steam. Steam allows us to play anything. And so with that being the case, you're going to have to allow for things like this.
Yes. And it again, kind of like I said at the very beginning of this, you can't walk around with a split opinion.
Right.
If your opinion is, I love Steam for its open source and the fact that it encourages all indie developers and that it does not discriminate against anyone, then they're going to have to support this indie developer and not discriminate against them. And again, it sucks. We here at dezandfoxplay state very clearly, we do not advocate for...
We will not be playing Rape Day.
Or anything that it has to do with. And it's, again, the game is horrific. And it's not even out yet. And I can tell you already it's horrific.
It'll fade into nothingness.
It will. Don't let your anger give it attention.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. You know what's going to make this worse? An outcry.
Yep.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Parents,
and again,
learn about Steam.
Yes.
Learn about how to control what your kids see, and then just let it go.
Well, guys, let us know what you think about this. Obviously, I'm going to guess the majority of you are not fans of this,
Probably
are not going
not,
to
yeah.
like this. Let us know how you think Steam should handle this, or we as gamers should handle this. Do you disagree with us? Do you think Steam should just block this, ban it? Tell us how, why, and what is your defense for that? Talk to us, guys. Remember, this really, really helps when you share this, when you rate this on whatever podcast
platform you're
whatever
listening on.
listings to, when you comment. If you share it on a social media, use the hashtag NerdyGritty or the hashtag dezandfoxplay so that we can get in on the conversation with you guys. We would love to respond and talk with you guys. Thanks again, guys, for being a part of our podcast. And remember, save games, save lives.
See you next week.